The new Libra boss is finally here. I went ahead and fought it today a whole bunch of times on stream, roughly around about 9 times. My first 3 were done solo, which I won, and then my next 3 in a group, of which I won, and then my last 3 I didn't win, although I did come pretty close, but yeah, I was using the Guardian and the Recluse. But I will talk about my thoughts and opinions on the boss in a little bit, because first, I want to touch on the boss relic, Dark Knight of the Demon. Yeah, this shit is ass. It is terrible. It is not worth using by any means, because it pretty much works the exact same way as like the regular Libra boss relic, and that it does give you a way to proc madness on yourself via this emote, and then it gives you some FP recovery when you have madness procced. But the thing is, the reason why it sucks is because it's only 2 FP per second for 25 seconds, which equals a total of 50 FP, which is pretty much enough to cast like 3 lightning spears, which is just not that good because you actually have to take damage, waste your time by using a gesture, and it also drains your FP as well because, you know, you actually proc madness upon yourself. So sometimes you're not even actually benefiting of 50 whole FP unless you already have a pretty much empty FP bar. Now, if you must know, yes, you actually can stack both of these boss relics together and you will gain twice as much FP recovery, and it will total 100 FP, which is enough to completely fill the Recluse's FP bar if she was at level 2. So I would actually never run these things together because I'm not stupid. But obviously the differences between these two would be the top perk right here. This one comes with the huge rune discount, which is a 20% discount. And this one does come with the taking attacks improves attack power, which is not unique to this relic. You can actually find this on any relic in the game. And it is a 15% damage boost for 10 seconds when you do take damage. And you might look at this and the synergy with the fact that you can proc madness upon yourself. And you can go ahead, use the gesture, you proc the madness, and next thing you know, you're taking damage, and then you're going to get a damage boost alongside the FP recovery, but it doesn't even work that way. You don't even get a damage boost when proccing madness upon yourself, because for some reason, the madness proc doesn't actually count as taking an attack. I didn't even know why they even bothered to put this relic perk in combination with this boss relic when there is basically no synergy here at all. What were they thinking? I have no idea. Like, this shit is just so unbelievably ass. And like, even if this relic was reworked, which it should have been reworked before this boss even got released, even if it was changed to where it just filled up your FP bar completely, like from 0 to max, doesn't matter what level or what character, even if it did that, I still wouldn't even run it, because you still have to go out of your way to proc madness upon yourself, which just isn't that viable, especially in like a solo boss fight. Like, it's just not that good. And there's like other relics out there that the game literally gives you, like this one, and this one that just give you a whole bunch of FP with no drawback and no downside, and just run these. And even then, I don't even care to run them. But yeah, the relic sucks, it's ass, never run it. But what about my thoughts on the boss fight itself? Okay, Everdark Libra. So somewhat earlier into the fight, he actually does begin to summon NPCs. And these NPCs are going to be like the Nightfarers that have like the same abilities. They'll have their own sets, builds, and loadout. And sometimes they're going to be completely and utterly obnoxious to try and counter. Whether it be like turtles with a fingerprint shield or just constant like projectile spammers, they can be very annoying. And in solo, you are going to fight one at a time for the most part, but you actually can summon a second one. And in teams or in a group, you are going to fight 3 separate NPCs, but you can actually summon another set of 3 to have a total of 6. And while you're fighting all these NPCs, Libra is also just throwing out a whole bunch of like these madness projectile attacks or like these random big AoEs. So you got to be looking at these NPCs while keeping an eye on the boss. And if you end up getting caught in this big attack and Libra just hits you with like these 3 AoEs at once, it's pretty much just going to one-shot you or at least hit you with madness, which pretty much results in death as well with how long the animation is. And while all this is happening, Libra is also throwing these challenges at you, all these like timed debuffs that range from things like having your allies be invisible to you, or giving you unlimited heals, but every single time that you heal, you lose a level, debuffing you to take constant madness buildup and having to pick up these like little madness stones to heal yourself, creating these big giant walls in the middle of the boss room in these like 4 separate quadrants. And if you actually pass through one of the walls, then you're going to end up taking a bit more damage afterwards. And the fight can just be an utter complete mess and so much chaos going on. And you're getting hit by the most random shit, constantly stun locked. Every single death just feels completely unfair. And like the entire fight is just bullshit. Like it is. It's a bullshit fight. And I fucking love it, man. This shit is so fucking cool to me. Now, yes, part of the reason I like this fight is because of the fact that it's bullshit, but it's not the entire reason I like it. But this fight right here is kind of what I imagine the hard mode expeditions to actually end up being like. Like, this type of shit is pretty much what I asked for and kind of what I expected the Everdark bosses to be like. Now, if every single Everdark boss was like just as bullshit as this one, I probably wouldn't really care for it as much. Because one thing when it does come to the bosses is that if every single one just offers the exact same gameplay style, it can be pretty stale, and like the really great ones aren't going to really stand out in comparison. So that's why I appreciate all of these Everdark bosses just covering different gameplay styles. Someone like Gaping Jaw is like very full on and very cinematic with all these like AoEs and visual clutter. Some people like it, some people don't. And then there are other bosses like Everdark Darkdrift Knight that are much more streamlined and simple with his moveset and more telegraphed. And honestly, the fight is just easier than the normal version. And you can argue that the Sentient Pest is kind of the exact same way as well. And then you have a boss like Everdark Augur, which also covers like a completely different gameplay style by using like this really fun weapon that can just hit him from across the map. Now, I kind of wish this boss had a little bit less health, and they did actually just recently buff the Stormruler to be a bit more powerful, so hopefully the next time I fight it actually is a bit more fun. But I appreciate that they actually did do something different. And then when this boss comes around, this is pretty much just going to be the bullshit fight. A lot of people aren't going to like it, but you don't have to fight it. Like, regular Libra is still there if you like that fight more. Like, this fight feels like it's been like designed for me and people like me who have like hundreds of hours in the game, and anything that you really do, the game has just been made a bit too easy for you. So you're just doing these like self-imposed challenge runs to just make the game a bit more bullshit or a bit more challenging. And this fight is pretty much right up my alley. It tests my game knowledge, it tests my build crafting skills, and the fight itself is actually incredibly engaging. Like, this fight right here is the closest that we've ever had to a raid boss in a From Software game. Like, with all these different moving parts and all these different mechanics and all these things to look out for. Like, you can't just be locked onto one enemy and focus on them the entire time. You have to be looking at what debuffs are currently active. You have to be keeping an eye on the boss the entire time and play with outs locked on. And you can't be wasting too much time fighting these NPCs. You have to quickly kill them and then keep an eye out for your teammates. And even if the slightest thing just goes wrong, the whole thing can just downward spiral and then just lose the expedition. And that's perfectly fine. Like, I'm finally glad that I'm actually starting to lose expeditions. Like, it feels like I'm playing the game for the first time again. Now, with that being said, do I think NPC fights are completely fucking ass? Yes, I would have rather these not be NPCs because they have dog shit attacks and they're just completely unrecognizable. And Elden Ring NPCs are just like the worst due to things like input reading and constantly spamming jumping attacks. And honestly, I think it would be pretty cool if they actually incorporated like invasions into this. Like, just have people invade with like no relics and actually add some like PvP into this fight. Because like, why not? It's just like this one random expedition out of like 15. Like, if people don't want to fight PvP, they can just have the option to turn it off or just like not do the expedition altogether. But honestly, this has me very hopeful for these like hard mode expeditions that are yet to come out. This is basically proof that From Software hasn't forgotten how to make some bullshit boss fights. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on the entire boss fight itself. It's not going to be my favorite boss fight of all time, obviously, but I'm glad that it does exist. I appreciate it. I look forward to playing it more often. But yeah, just let me know what your opinions are down in the comments below. I'm sure a lot of people dislike this boss. I heard it a lot in my stream that this thing is completely and utter dog shit, and that's perfectly fine. Not everyone's going to like every single boss. For every single boss that you don't like, there's probably another boss out there for you that you do like. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next. See yous.